morning, everyone. Hello, Marty. Hello, Jean. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Nancy. Hi, Connie. So good to see you all. Thanks for joining in. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Teresa. Yay, Teresa, did you get your little package from me, your Happy Tales? Teresa earned a Happy Stamper stamp set, so I put that in the mail for her a couple of days ago. Good morning, Kathy. Oh my goodness, you're already sharing. You guys are so good to me. I am just in awe of you. So thank you so much for that. I will be sharing in the video here when we get started the ribbon that I'm going to give away. I can't remember the name of it right now. Oh dear. But you know what? What else is new? Hi Sharon, are you back from Arizona yet, or are you still in Arizona? I'm curious. Hi, Glenda. Oh no, Teresa, you haven't gotten it. Oh dear, you know what? It's probably going to be there today because I swear I mailed it like 2 days ago. But I mean, you are on the other side of the country, so. Oh yes, Sharon. Sharon is my downline member. She's from Minnesota here, but she's actually in Arizona. Oh yes, I do hope it comes today, Teresa. Hi, Linda. I met Linda many years ago when I did a little stamp camp in Hayward, Wisconsin. And so she is always one of my joiners on these Facebook Lives if she can make it. I hope your foot's better, Linda. Linda fell on the ice, and with her, some of her issues with fibromyalgia, she wasn't able to come to my spring fling. But I know that her and her demonstrator, who happens to be in my downline, will be working on those cards this weekend maybe. Hi, Deb. Oh yes, it's gloomy here in Minnesota too. Deb's telling me it's gloomy in Iowa. Hi, Carolyn. Oh my goodness, you're in Minnetonka today. I thought you were in Bloomington. Well, yeah, I don't know where the sun is either, but we're supposed to have a little break, I think, hopefully. Oh my gosh, I have somebody, Melanie's watching from the Phoenix airport. Wow. Keep the volume off. You might have some stalkers. Oh goodness, I love it. Deb gets her butterfly punch today. Isn't it great to have the butterfly punch back in stock? Whew. I tell you, or maybe it's on back order already. I don't know. I can't keep track of this stuff anymore. But I tell you what, we are going to be using the Beauty Abounds bundle today, and we are going to make a card that uses only the stamp set, because honestly, I think I designed it back when the thinlits were on back order or something, so then I worked with the stamp set. But then I love the card so much, we ended up using it for Spring Fling. So I've been keeping it under wraps. I mean, I don't like to share every single thing at Spring Fling in advance. I do some of the cards, the more complicated ones, because it's nice to have some of my downline members to know how to do it so that when they're going around the table with their customers, they can kind of give some helpful advice. But this particular card is so easy. It's just stamping, really. It's just stamping. There's not even any punches. There's no die cutting. It's so simple. I don't even know if I can give you tips. You might just all be bored and go home and stop watching because it's just so easy. The second card we're going to do today, well, that's going to take up the bulk of the time for this video, I believe, because it uses thinlits and we have to get the multi-purpose liquid sheets out and all of that. Oh my gosh, do you guys realize what's behind me? I just noticed I just happened to look up at my iPad, and instead of looking at your comments, actually, oh my, I'm doing it the wrong way. Do I need to do it this way? I can't tell, but look. Yeah, I do need to do it this way. Look, look, look. All of my storage by Stampin' Up is here, and I'm so happy with it. It turned out so very nice, and so I've had lots of comments and lots of people sharing that newsletter that I put out the other day that had all the product information in it. But it's so much fun. It's so beautiful. And even my husband's impressed. I mean, it's kind of hard to impress Steve, especially with kind of girly things. Well, what he considers girly things, I'm not saying that stamping is girly at all. However, that is just not really my husband's style. And the fact that he came into my office the other day when he saw it all put together, and he's just like, wow, that looks really good. So that was a big thumbs up from my hubby, because I don't often get those with my office space or my stamping or anything like that. He's most enthusiastic about Stampin' Up! When we're on a trip. And Stampin' Up! Often gives the guys hats or shirts or whatever. So anyway, it's great to have you all here. Oh, my dear friend Lynn is watching all the way from Georgia. Welcome, Lynn. It's great to have you here. I'm going to get started because enough probably chit-chat. I'm going to flip the camera down and I'm going to show you some cards that I didn't get to share with you that I personally created that I wanted to put on a Facebook Live, but they use celebration items and I just never quite got them done. Well, I had them done, but I just never quite worked it into my schedule in order to share them with you. So you are going to see some celebration items. I know we can't get them anymore, but you know what? Some of you already have some of these things, so maybe the cards will inspire you. So let me go ahead and flip the camera down and we'll get started. All right, so the very first card that I want to share with you is one that uses the butterfly punch. Well, you can imagine why I did not share that card early on. It's because we only had that butterfly punch probably 3 weeks, and then it was about 2.5 months on back order. So I was always going to share this card with you because it was kind of a simple stamping card. It was pretty easy to make, and then it just never happened. And what I like about it is it uses the butterfly gala bundle, which includes that little butterfly punch. So it punches out 2 different kinds of butterflies, one that's a little bigger and then this baby butterfly. And I just punched them out in all these different colors and put little sparkly rhinestones in there and then just decorated up the rest of the cards. So I've got a couple of black banners. You can probably see that like this. And I just, fussy cut the ends into banner shapes. And then a little white banner over the top that says a little note, and a little note is included in that bundle. And then we have our a botanical butterfly designer series paper. And then of course it's all on, I think it's pineapple punch or something like that. Or is it Daffodil Delight? You know what? I take that back. It's Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to set that aside. So that's one card that I never quite got shared during celebration. Here's another card. And this card, again, I kind of had it on the back burner because we didn't have our butterfly punch. And so I was always going to do that when the butterfly punches came in. But as you know, they didn't come in very quickly. And so this one is wishing you an amazing birthday. I didn't do the inside. Sometimes I do the inside right before I go live, thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do my inside. But these are just a whole bunch of layers of cardstock, which is super simple stamping. I tell you, you can really up your game, making your cards look absolutely phenomenal just by doing a bunch of layering. And so that's what I did here. We have the Whisper White on top, of course, which is stamped with the Lasting Lily stamp set, which of course we can no longer get, but I know a lot of you have it because it was a celebration item since January 3rd. And then of course there's some Calypso Coral, some Old Olive, and then a base card of Mango Melody. And then it's just pretty. And then I punched out, again, a little butterfly with the bigger size butterfly punch part from that butterfly duet punch. All right, so then, and that was, of course, with the botanical butterfly celebration paper. Then I have another card, oh, so sad, that I did not share with you, but I think you saw it in the background on all of my Facebook Lives for the last couple months. And that is this card. And it uses the Share What You Love Specialty Designer Series paper, which we still have. And I also have the, these are framelets. They're the stitched rectangle framelets. So I was all excited about that because I think this might have been the first time that I used the stitched rectangle framelets. So I made this card back around probably between Christmas and New Year's. And I really, really liked it. And then what was it that kept me from sharing it? I don't know. I think it's just because I was gonna... Okay, so this uses Celebration. This is the little cutout from the Celebration Tea Time framelets or whatever they call. And they match something. They match the... Oh dear, I can't remember the name of it. I have a catalog right here, so I'm kind of frantically paging back. Oh, it's the Tea Together stamp set. So these were, with a $100 purchase during celebration, you get the coordinating framelets. And I think I just never got around to making another couple of cards to put up like 2 or 3 cards with this set. Oh, this one I actually did finish off. But it's really, really pretty. And what I love about it, I know you want to get to the butterfly projects, but I have to tell you what I love about it. This, when you go like this, it shimmers kind of silvery, and it's on kind of a gold background. And so I love the crumb cake and the sort of saffron gold background, but then all the flowers come out sort of silver when you shimmer it in the light. And then it matches that glittered organdy black ribbon. And that's actually going to be my giveaway today because we are using that on a butterfly card. And then it works so well to put one of those big faceted silver gems in up here, and it just, oh my gosh, it's just so gorgeous in real life. So yes, that is another card that I never quite got around to sharing with you during celebration, so I apologize for that. Here's the card. Oh my gosh, before I show you the card I'm making today, I got a card from a customer that I have to share with you. This was made by Joanne Beek. She's one of my local customers here in the Twin Cities, and she came by to pick up some products and hand delivered this beautiful card to me. And it uses that delightful daisy stamp set and punch, and look how pretty this is. I'm going to hold this up to the camera because I want to see I want to show you what she did in the background. Look at that. She stamped it in coordinating ink, so it's tone on tone, and then just punched it in different sections so it all looks a little bit different. Then she has her pretty flower, and I think this is Fresh Fig and Berry Burst, and then this is powdered pink. So you can see she's using all of her gorgeous in colors, which these in colors, by the way, are going to be retiring soon. And so if you love these colors, it's a great idea to go ahead and get them while we still can. And also get your re-inkers, you guys, because once they put that retirement list out, like in a couple of weeks, those in color re-inkers that are retiring just like flash, they're gone. And so please be sure you get those before they are completely unavailable. All right, now we can go ahead. So thank you again, Joanne, for giving me that beautiful card. And let me show you the cards we're making today. So here they are. This is the card we made at Spring Fling. So gorgeous. Again, such an easy card. We'll be able to make this in no time flat. This one's going to take a little longer, and I'm going to kind of mix up the colors a little bit. So we'll have 2 different varieties to choose from, and you're going to have to tell me which one you like the best. But we'll make this one exactly as shown. And what I love about this one is this gorgeous glittered black organdy ribbon. And so that's going to be my giveaway today when you share this on your Facebook timeline. So just share this video. Or what you can do too is just make comments. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what you're up to this weekend. Just jot a couple of notes down on the video as you go through, maybe what you like, maybe some tips you have to share about different things that I'm doing that, you know, I don't do everything perfectly. So it's great to have people give me some helpful advice so that I know for the future exactly what to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to start with this one. So let me grab my materials. First of all, I want to show you in the Occasions catalog that we're using Beauty Abounds, which is this stamp set right here. Looks just like this, comes with coordinating framelets that, oh my gosh, is this amazing. Look at all of these framelets that come with it. And I shouldn't say framelets, they're actually thinlets. And it's amazing, amazing, amazing. I don't even know what else to say because I've never seen such a intricate and gorgeous set of framelets. They are beautiful. I keep calling them framelets. They're thinlets. Thinlets. I always think of framelets as being a little more sturdier and thinlets being a little bit more delicate, but I have no idea what the official reasoning between thinlets and framelets. All right, and then we're also going to use the stamp set called Bouquet Dots. And we're going to be using these kind of bubbly-like ones. And do you know why we're using the bubbly-like ones? Because look, you guys, it coordinates. This is actually a stamp set that coordinates with another stamp set in our product line. So these little bubbles look absolutely fantastic with these little bubbles. So they're a really, really good set of stamps to put together. Love that about Stampin' Up, that they coordinate so well with other products already in their line. All right, so let's put this aside and we'll go ahead and get all of the little supplies out here. And you guys, I decorated my envelopes this time in advance so you could see how I did it. So I'm just gonna share with that. Look at that, isn't that so cute and sweet? So just a couple of balmy blue bubble dots down here with a little flower, or with a little butterfly in the Stays On ink. And then of course that's going to, you know, coordinate perfectly with our card. Isn't that cute? All right, so I will not show you how to do that, but that's so easy. You guys can do that on your own. Actually, this whole card is so easy. You could probably just, you know, skip this part of the video. But we're going to start with some blueberry bushel cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and then I've scored it at 4 1/4. That makes our standard US size greeting card here. And then I've already kind of pressed it down with my bone folder. I'll give it another press, and then it will lie flat for us while we work with it. We're going to go ahead and get our stamping done first. So we're going to start with actually 2 pieces of Whisper White, both of them cut at the exact same dimensions, 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So it looks like this. One is an inside panel, one is an outside panel. And then we have another outside panel that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and this is in balmy blue. All right, so now that I've shared all the dimensions, we'll go ahead and get stamping. So we are going to use some balmy blue ink, and I like to do my stamping with the balmy blue first, and then we're going to finish it up with the Stays On. So I'm going to open this up, and we're going to take that bouquet dots, the ones that have kind of the bubble look, and we're just going to ink up the dots with the balmy blue. And we're going to flip this over, and I'm going to bring it a little bit more my way so I can get my head sort of over it to see what to do here. Because you sort of want to have the top and the right the right and the left sort of all about the same distance. Hopefully I've done that pretty close. Give it a little time for the ink to settle into that Whisper White cardstock. Remove it, and you get this gorgeous, gorgeous look. This will lighten up a little bit as it dries, but it's just so pretty. Then what we're going to do is, I did say I was going to stamp all the blue stuff first, but really not quite, because I'm not sure exactly where I want my sentiment yet. So I want to stamp the sentiment, and we're going to do that with Stays On jet black ink. So the sentiment is, our friendship isn't one big thing. And we're going to stamp that right down here on the lower right side. Beautiful. Then we're going to take the other sentiment that says it's a million little things, and we're going to stamp that on our inside panel. So we'll just center that in. And for my inside panel, I like to go about 1/3 of the way down from the top. You know what? That one's a little crooked. Let me just flip that over. See if I can get it a little straight. I'm going to bring it in a little bit more so I can see what I'm doing here. There we go. That's a lot better. What I love about paper is it gives you a second chance. Just flip it over. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and we're going to, again, take our Stays On jet black ink, and we're going to ink up this really cool looking fern-like thing with flowers. So it's not just ferns, it's ferns and flowers. And I love it. I love it, how swirly and lovely it is. So we're going to just set this in right here. And again, give your ink a little bit of time to go into that cardstock so you get a really nice and beautiful impression, just like that. And what's next here? Let's stamp our butterflies next. So we have one butterfly that's coming in for a landing. So we're going to ink him up again in the Stays On Jet Black ink. Get yourself enough ink on it. This dries really quickly. So get yourself enough ink on it, and then we're just going to set that just right here. Again, give that a little time to soak into the ink and the paper, and look how beautiful that turned out. Then we're going to take the second butterfly, which is a little bit smaller, and we're going to have him fluttering off to the right, to the upper right. So again, ink it up, and then we'll just put this one right here. Again, give it a little time, lift away, and it's just stunning. All right, so we have all of the black stamped on our image. So I'm just going to set my pad aside for a second, and then we're going to grab some of those bouquet dots from Beauty Abounds, and we're going to put those in here near our sentiment. So we're going to take this one and set it in about right here. And I inked it up with Balmy Blue, so everything coordinates. And then we're going to take the smaller one and just set this around here. And now, so let me get this all put aside here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this on our Balmy Blue panel. So I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to do that with Snail. Whoops. There we go. Kind of a rough start there. All right, now it's working good. Oh, I see somebody has a must-have list. Wonderful. And Trudy's telling me that this was the first set she purchased from the Occasions catalog. That's wonderful. I'm glad you already have it. You can just turn around and make this card today because it's so simple. And then I'm burnishing it from the back just so I don't smear any ink that might possibly still be smearable. Let's finish off the inside. So again, for the inside, we're just going to ink up those bubbly things and put some right there. And then we'll take the smaller one, add it over here. And then let's take that little tiny butterfly again. I guess I wasn't done with the Stays On Black. We're going to take that little tiny butterfly and just get that one kind of floating off to the left here. There we go. And the inside panel is done. So let's put the inside panel into our cards so I have a little more room on my desk. Yep, there's our mistake. Now, as you know, I typically only put adhesive at the very top because I want to keep it loose and flowing for a more elegant look with my cards. But when I have a little mistake, I don't want them flipping it up, peeking under and seeing that. So I'll put just a little more adhesive right under my mistake. It still keeps the card loose and flowing, but that way they can't tell that I'm not perfect. All right, so we're going to put this in here like this. So if you're one of my winners, because I'll draw 2 names on Monday, if you're one of my winners, you might get this card. And you'll know if it's this card, because when you lift it up, you can't tell that I made a mistake. Isn't that awesome? All right, so now we're going to take this one here. This is our front panel. Never put your front panel down until you have your ribbons or your wraps already attached. So that's probably the most common mistake that people make when they get to stamping in kind of a, you know, a chit-chatting environment where everybody's talking and sharing about the day and the weekend and their stamping. And then all of a sudden somebody puts their panel down and they didn't have their ribbon wrapped. And then it's a big hassle, especially if they use a lot of adhesive. Then we're like, oh no, what do we do? So it's a good idea to get those panels completed before you actually put them on your card. All right, so Glenda's telling me she has to make this card. Oh yes, Marty's telling me it's easy, fun, and fast. That's really true, it is. All right, so now one of my little tricks, because I said I didn't really have any tricks to share, but I guess I do. Whenever I'm working with twine and I want to add a bow, so this is our baker's twine, our solid black baker's twine from Stampin' Up. I just make sure that I'm working from a knot, because it's really hard to tie a bow one-handed when you don't have a knot to work from. So now with my knot, everything's all in place and ready for me to do my finishing touch, which is a bow. So I will do that right now, making my bow, and it's so beautiful. So as you notice, I did give myself a little extra baker's twine. You guys, baker's twine is so inexpensive. You can afford to work with it a little bit. So give yourself enough room, because it's so tiny and our fingers, well, particularly my fingers, are kind of big. So it's hard to actually get in there and tie that bow unless I have enough twine to work with. So yes, I probably wasted about 4 inches, but it's worth it when you see the results. They're so pretty. Okay, now to get this bow to stay in place for us, we are going to grab our glue dots. I don't know what happened to my little thing that they're supposed to be around, but that disappeared a long time ago. I'm going to use my take your pick tool, and I've got the, I don't know, the little pointy part here. So I'm just going to grab a glue dot off here, and I'm going to lift this bow up, and we're just going to push that glue dot right under the bow, and now the bow is very secure and it looks really nice. Let me just get that all into place, and that looks great. Okay, now what do we do next? Well, we need to put this onto our card base. So I am going to use some dimensionals for that. Whoops, wrong size. We don't need the minis for this one. I'm going to take some big dimensionals. And especially when I have a wrap, I want my card to like have some breathing room so nothing's all tight and looking real, I don't know. I like a more loose, flowing, more elegant look. And whenever I do a wrap, not every single time, but a lot of times when I do a wrap, especially one that goes all the way across, I don't want it to be super tight. Have you guys ever gotten a card in the mail and the card was wrapped like what I did here? And then what happens is, you know how it is, when things go through the U.S. postal system, they must squish them flat with a 10-ton truck or something, because I will actually get things in the mail where the wrap will show through from the other side because it's been squished down so much. And so that usually happens more often when the card has not been lifted a little bit with dimensionals. So there's our finished card. I hope you love it. And now let's move on to the next card that we're going to do. So the next card is this one, and of course we're going to be working with the Big Shot machine and all of these fantastic thinlits. I am going to set aside some of my supplies here. There, because we don't need the balmy blue ink and some of the other things that we're using. So we're gonna change this card up, and then you're gonna tell me which one you like the best. We are going to, instead of making a blue background, we're going to go with a lemon lime twist background and make the butterflies blue. Of course, they'll still have the black accents. Did you notice what I did up here? I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can see, but did you notice I did a little vellum punch out so that we could stamp for you? It's kind of hard to know where to stamp otherwise, because you're not quite sure where this big butterfly cutout is going to actually go. And then another thing you might notice, let me show you these cards together one more time. Look at the size difference. This is our standard normal kind of card making size that we do in Stampin' Up! All the time. It's just a half sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper cut in half and folded. But notice how much bigger this one is. And there's a reason. We are using the Whisper White Memories and More large cards and envelopes that are available from Stampin' Up! And I'm going to show you what my envelope looks like. So it's in a larger envelope as well, and that's what I did to coordinate with this card. Because when you open it up, look! Oh my gosh, is that not pretty? So we have this glorious oh, you know what? No, I don't. We are using this kind of flowers and ferns like stamp again. And we are just going to use a marker from our In Colors markers that are retiring. This has the Lemon Lime Twist marker that I use. And then our Subtles marker pack, which is the Balmy Blue. That's where I'm getting that Balmy Blue from. So I am just coloring those in, and isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started making this card. And what are we going to need? Well, obviously, we are going to need the Whisper White, Memories and More, large cards and envelopes. Here's the part number, but I'll put up all this information later so you can access it on the See More section of this video. And also when I post it on my blog, I always have that information. Now, because it's very tedious to color all of this, I did do this section in advance. But I haven't stamped my butterflies yet, so we'll do that next. So I'm going to use the Jet Black Stays On ink again. And we're going to take that little small butterfly, and we're going to bring him over right here like he's just flying out. Oh, I shouldn't have. Let me move this. Did you notice that I had it half on and half off the envelope? Bad. That's bad for stamping. You always want to make sure you have a very level surface. All right, so there's our little butterfly, and we're going to do one more butterfly. We're going to have him have a friend, so we're going to stamp his little friend on here. Perfect. Okay, now I want you to notice something about this particular cardstock. It's got a little tooth to it, which means it's not as smooth as our Whisper White cardstock. So I did not get quite enough ink on this first butterfly. It's not going to be super noticeable because we're coloring it, but this one I made sure I had plenty of ink on, so I'm just going to hold this to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, maybe it doesn't show up that much, but honestly, the butterfly that's on the upper part is not as intense because I did not put enough ink on there to grab into the toothiness of this cardstock. It's our thick Whisper White cardstock basically, which is not quite as super smooth and pressed down as our regular thin Whisper White cardstock. Okay, so let's color this. You're not going to know the difference. We're going to take the Balmy Blue and we're going to color the outer edges of this particular butterfly. Oh my gosh. So it's really, I'm just discovering, this is another reason why I colored in advance. It's really hard to color with the camera right over. So now I'm also going to do the Balmy Blue just on the inside of this particular butterfly because we don't want them to look exactly alike. Then we're going to take our Lemon Lime Twist, color the inside here. And then we'll color the outside of this one with the Lemon Lime Twist. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm going to miss Lemon Lime Twist so much. Who's going to miss that color? It's like the perfect green for spring. Because if you're in Minnesota or Wisconsin or Michigan, you know that when the leaves first pop in the spring, they kind of have this yellow-green hue. That's the exact color of Lemon Lime Twist. So I'm going to just so miss it. Especially because since I can't even be outside during the spring, I have to do all my spring stuff inside because I have terrible spring allergies, which is, you know, neither here nor there, but just saying, I will miss that color. All right, so now let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to do next. Well, you know what? Our envelope's done. The inside panel of our card is done. And because we have a ribbon wrap, everything's going to be done in advance before we get back to that card. So let me grab all of our supplies and get the Big Shot machine into the camera. All right, here's the Big Shot. And I'm going to share something with you today that's a little tip. Yes, another tip. So here I have my magnetic platform, which is an accessory that you can purchase for your Big Shot machine. But I'm going to do something different today. I find that these super detailed dies, particularly the butterfly dies, cut better if the sharp part goes up. Okay, so let me show you. We're going to be cutting this die, using this die with the Balmy Blue paper. So I just have a piece of Balmy Blue cut, you know, sized enough for this butterfly thinlet. And if you, so what you're going to do is take what you normally put on top, the plate you don't cut on, you're going to flip that over so that your Sharpie part of the Thinlet goes towards the top. Then you're going to put your paper over that, and I think I've got it all covered. Then you're going to put your cut plate on top this time because you're cutting towards the top. And there's a couple of reasons for that, as I will explain. All right, so in it goes. And then we're going to flip it. We're going to take it out, flip it around, and run it through the other way. Because sometimes with these really detailed Thinlets, you want to go ahead and give it a couple of passes through the Big Shot. And then what we're going to do is check it. Now this is where is the magic. So we can take away this top plate and without moving our die, because if you were to pick this up, you would hardly rarely get that placed perfectly the second time if you needed to run it through a second time. So here's what it looks like, and I can kind of see that everything looks pretty cut out, but this over here looks a little faint. So I'm just going to push it to the very edge of my machine so that it's hitting different parts of the roller, and I'm going to run it through once more. And I was able to do that, and I didn't have to pick it up where I might have moved it a little bit, and then you know what happens. Then suddenly you double cut in a couple of places and it doesn't look as nice. Okay, so that's why I'm doing it this way. And it gives me that opportunity to make sure that this really detailed die is perfectly cut before I take it away. All right, so I'm gonna just set that aside for a second because I wanna do another cut. And we're going to be doing that with basic black paper. And I want to show something to you. Let me see if I can find it. Oh goodness, what did I do with it? I need an assistant to hand me things. I can't find it. Oh, here, I'll just show you on the card. I want to point something out. So if you look really closely, I just want to show you this because I don't think people appreciate exactly how extremely tiny, can you see how extremely tiny that black cutout is on these cards? Look, this is like a real blood vein on a butterfly. It is that thin. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. So when you do this, this is another reason to have that die face up, because you do not want to be, you know, putting it back in and getting it a little off kilter. The other thing you want to do is you want to put your adhesive onto your paper before you cut. And so I have the Sizzix adhesive sheets. These are the multi-purpose adhesive sheets in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. And because it's so sticky, what I did is I'm going to peel this little end off here first. Let me get this started because I don't want to get my hands all full of this sticky stuff. So I'm just peeling off this little section right here. Then I can set that down onto my black cardstock. Just that small section is holding it. And again, I just cut a piece of cardstock about as big as that butterfly cutout. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm really burnishing this end here because I want that to stick. Then if I flip it over like this and just grab that edge, I do not have to touch any of that paper because I can pull this out like so. And I don't have to touch any of that sticky stuff, and my hands stay sticky free because that stuff is sticky. Oh my gosh, you get it on your hands and it's really hard to get off. But that's good because it sticks really well to your project once it's burnished. I have to share, you don't worry about this because if you don't get it on quite right the first time, as long as it's not burnished down, you can lift it up, which is one of the beauties. That is actually a beautiful thing when it comes to this. So I've burnished this all down, so it's going to stick really well now to this black paper. And now we're going to bring again the Big Shot into the picture, and we're going to get that butterfly die with the extremely thin little pieces, and this is the Thinlets. And so again, we have our normally what would be the top plate on the bottom because I want to do this the opposite way of what I normally do. Another thing you want to make sure is when you're using this die cutout, make sure that all of your previous dies are punched out. You know what? I've got to use something different here. Let me grab this tool. So I have a couple of little sections in here that I didn't quite get all pushed out. All right. Because especially with the adhesive on this, you want to make sure that you have a clean background with no little, what do they call those, chads? Or those little tiny pieces of paper. Okay, I got them all out. All right, now we're going to take our butterfly, we're going to put it face up so the cutting side is to the top. We don't want to cut on the adhesive because that would not make sense. You want the adhesive at the bottom, so because we're doing this all backwards, the adhesive is going to be up. The butterfly is cutting through the black paper. Then you're going to take your cut plate, throw that over the top, and we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the other butterfly die cut, except we're going to be even more careful because this is even thinner. So once I have it through, I'm going to just turn it over and run it through again at a little bit different angle. All right, and that looks really, really good. And just because we have that extra layer on there, I'm going to run it through one more time. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to pull this away. Let me just double check. Everything looks really good. Okay, so now what's the next step in this process? Sorry this takes so long, but you guys, I want to do it right. And I want to share tips with our newbies that maybe aren't as experienced as some of you are. So we're going to take the Big Shot die brush next. I just keep it in an inside-out paper pumpkin box. I have a little magnet sheet here from Stampin' Storage, and that helps me, especially with my small dies, it kind of helps to not lose those dies in your chads. Because when you're done with the die, you can just put it up here, and it's safe. All right, so here's my cutout, and look at how beautifully that cut. If you do see any little spots, oh my goodness, is there any? There's one right here. You can just take your pick tool and push those out, and that's ready to go. That is done and perfect and beautiful. Then let's take the black one, and the already kind of fell apart. But this one is a little more tedious because you have your, and don't worry, if it does come apart a little bit like that, like I messed that up. I poked it out too quickly and that came apart. Don't worry because it won't be noticeable once it's put on your card. So I don't want to take the time to pull all this out because it is more tedious because of the adhesive being back there, but you definitely want the adhesive back there. So rather than spending 5 minutes doing that, I did prepare one in advance, so it looks like this. And we're going to go ahead, let me grab a piece of scrap here. It looks like this. You couldn't even see it black on black. But I did have a little tear. I don't even know where it is now. Somewhere in here I had a little tear. I don't know where it is. Excuse me. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this one that I've prepared in advance onto our blue cutout. Okay, so, and another thing I want to say is that usually when you pull away the peely part of the adhesive, it often will take away those little tiny pieces, but just in case it didn't, I went ahead and prepared this in advance. So let me get this all off. Look at how delicate this is. So if you have kind of shaky hands, you will have to be extra patient. But like I said, as long as you're not burnishing this down, you can remove it. So we're going to put this, I usually start just in one corner. And again, this is going to be a little harder because the camera's in the way, but you're just going to set this in right over the top of everything. And as you can see, I can kind of move it around and get it just right. And then we'll burnish it down at the end once we have it right where we like it. And that all looks pretty good. Now this one down here, I have to, you know, and I am extremely grateful for your patience today, because this is just a little putsy and there's just no way to really hurry it. So thank you, you guys, for being so patient. Marty, what's the great tip that I shared? I'm sorry, I didn't see you put that comment up until just now, but Marty says, such a great tip. I do this and got it from you, and I don't know which tip she's talking about. All right, so I think this is good. All right, so there we have our everything is perfect butterfly cut out. So what we're going to do now is you're going to burnish this to the back. And so I wouldn't use your fingers because it is kind of fragile. Just take another paper and then you can just go like this over the top. Oh, and Marty's talking about, oh, it's the box. So she said that she has a magnet sheet up here and makes sure that she keeps her framelets and thinlets up there so they don't fall away when you're throwing away the little pieces of paper. All right, so I'm just burnishing this down. There it is. And now it's really secure on there. I would not be able to get this up and play with it. So I'm glad it looks good, because that's what we want. We want something that looks good. All right, now let's go ahead and put this card together. So we are going to need some lemon lime paper, and we're going to do a little tiny bit of stamping that says for you. So I'm going to get the Stays On ink. Did you know Stays On is perfect for really anything that has a super smooth surface? And you know how some inks don't dry on things like vellum or glossy paper? Stays On actually does. So just give it like a couple of seconds to dry, and then we can go ahead and take our tailored tag punch and go in and punch that out. So let me go ahead and do that. There we go. So we've just done a punch out with the tailored tag punch, and now we're ready to assemble this. And there's really nothing much to it other than you get my crazy measurements. So this card is 4 1/16 by 6 inches. You could just say a smidge over 4, because that's what it is. 4 1/16 by 6. You guys always say you want my measurements. Well, there you are. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put this onto here. And I think what I'm going to do is do my ribbon wrap first. So this is the giveaway. So by sharing this video on your timeline, or commenting while this video is going on, or making comments as you're watching the rebroadcast, or sharing the rebroadcast, all that gets you into the drawing for Monday. So I'm just doing a ribbon wrap with the glittered black organdy ribbon, which is what I'm giving away on Monday, 2 yards of it. And then you guys can pick whichever card you want me to give you. If you want this more detailed thinlet one, or if you want the other one that we did. All right, and that looks good. Now we're going to take another little bit here and cut this off, and we're going to do a tie on. So let me do that real quick. There we go. Looks pretty. This just helps us know where we need to put our vellum. All right, so that's all done and gorgeous. Now let's go ahead and do this part. So to do this part, we're going, and I do actually, you know what? We're going to do the vellum part first. I forgot. I need to do this next, because our little butterfly can go over the top of the vellum, but it's really hard to get that butterfly over the top of the vellum if the vellum's not down yet. So what I do is I just line this up so that this little tailored tag punch out is going over this knot in the ribbon, and I'm going to stick a glue dot on, so hold on a second. I've got a glue dot right here. I'm going to take my take your pick tool, grab that glue dot, and we are just going to shove that glue dot under the knot, and that looks good. And we have the For You right there. But just to be on the safe side, I don't want this accidentally coming away, so I'm going to grab another glue dot, lift up that vellum piece, and put that underneath. So you're kind of double layering your glue dots there, but that makes that vellum piece really sturdy. All right, now we're going to flip this over and we're going to add some multi-purpose liquid glue because there's lots of big spots here that we can add it to keep our butterflies intact on our card. And we do need to put the glue on each butterfly. They are a little fragile, so you don't want them floating around too much on your card or they will break off, and that would be a little disappointing for the person who does get the card. All right, so that looks pretty good. Oh, thank you, you guys, for all the lovely shares that you're doing and the lovely comments. I really appreciate it. Okay, notice how my nails match my card today? It's pure accident. I wanted kind of Easter colors for my nails, and I love doing the two-tone colors, so that's what I did. Okay, so now we're going to set this in. And that looks pretty good. We just want to make sure the butterflies are all within the card. And of course, this little butterfly here comes really close down to our sentiment, but that's okay. Just press it all in. Gorgeous. And now we are ready to finish off our card. So let me grab the card. Let me do that here real quick. So here it is. And we're just going to take some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back, because remember, this is our thick Whisper White cardstock, so the glue lines won't show through. And we're going to just kind of wiggle that into place. And there it is. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, so there's this gorgeous, gorgeous card. And the first one that I did looked like this. So just out of curiosity, which one do you like the best? Do you like the one with the lemon lime twist background, or do you prefer the one that has the balmy blue background? I mean, I'm just curious because these are really something really gorgeous, I think. And I can't decide between the two which I like better. All right, so these are the two cards that we did. And of course, I did finish off the insides to look like this in case you've forgotten. And then here are the two cards that I did in advance, well, that we did earlier in the broadcast. This is a long broadcast, sorry about that. And then of course we did the matching envelopes. I did those in advance. I'm not going to get those into the photo. But it was so great having you all here today. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. And I'll do the drawing on Monday. I hope all of you guys have just a super weekend. I love doing these Facebook Lives. I'm not sure when my next one is, but it could be Monday. It just depends. I'm still working some things. We have a Tuesday night demonstrator meeting, so I'm just not sure if I'm going to have time. But if I end up doing a Facebook Live, I will let you know on Monday morning, well, early enough in the day so that you can plan around it. Because if I do one, it will be at 3 o'clock Central Time. But I just don't know yet, because right now I don't have anything prepared, so it just depends. Anyway, thank you everyone. I truly appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.